Oh, it's so messy. Oh my God, it's so messy.
Because you're like, okay, 48 hours after being fired, I start this business. It's amazing. I don't have to do the hard things. I do the things I love.
Which is also hard.
Okay, what's hard about that?
I didn't have a voice
What do you mean?
in the early days.
You said they gave you that opportunity, but it was your business.
That's correct. What the hell is wrong with me? Why didn't I think I should be the CEO of the business that bears my name, that I have built from the ground up? Like, what is wrong with me? Why didn't I think I was worthy?
Today, we're going to have on Melissa Ben-Ishay. She is the CEO, president, and founder of Baked by Melissa, those amazing little cupcakes where 6 of them equals 1. The thing that's interesting about Melissa is that while she got fired and quickly pivoted to running what is a $100 million business, it took her a long time to believe in herself enough to be CEO. And also, the thing that's interesting is now she's also a content creator talking about salads, something you wouldn't expect from somebody making cupcakes. But that is exactly why you want to listen to this episode. So, Melissa, I'm so excited to have you on the show. And of course, you brought cupcakes, which we'll have to talk about. So let's just dig in. You were 24 when you got fired from Deutsch?
I was 24.
Go back to that moment for me, because, since then you've built, a $100 million business. But in that moment, how did it feel?
It felt terrible. It was a Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Not that you remember.
I was called over the loudspeaker to HR because the office was in that big Google building on like 15th and 8th. And I thought I was getting a promotion, but they fired me. Yeah, really. I mean, I was an assistant media planner.
But you didn't see it coming.
I did not. I didn't. But I still think it was the best thing that ever happened. And in general, of course, I've been now a part of Baked by Melissa for 18 years. And I genuinely believe that when you let somebody go, it's the best for both sides, because everybody deserves to be in a role that they can succeed in.
When they called you in on the loudspeaker, did you go into an office, and was it a fast firing?
I went into the HR office.
Yeah.
And I
You were like, yeah, I'm getting promoted.
I still keep in touch with the HR director who terminated my employment. She's wonderful, and she supports Baked by Melissa. I was fired I remember the reason, I felt like it was so unjust for leaving before 5 p.m. or something, which was not the case. So I picked up the phone and called my brother crying. And without hesitation, he said, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, and to come to his office. He had just moved into his very first office in Manhattan. He's an entrepreneur. And so I got in a taxi and went up to 38th and 8th.
Because that clearly, it doesn't matter how old you are. Like when people get fired.
Rejection. Oh,
yeah. It's just
like
terrible.
Not making the varsity volleyball team.
Brooke Baldwin, who was on and said, she's still 5 years later trying to forget what happened to her. Because it's really like a hard thing.
Rejection is very tough.
It always ends up being the best thing that ever happened to you.
It does.
But so you go to your brother's office, and what does he say to you?
He said, let's start a business. Go home.
What made him say that?
So he always has new business ideas. And at the time, it was a dream of ours to start a business together. He would actually come up with ideas that really focused on my personality, I guess. I love cupcakes. And at the
always.
And I used to bake them actually when my brother would have like a play date when we were little. I would bake them and for him and his friends, so they would hang out with me at a very young age. But
very strategic.
Yeah, I've learned since that it was my early problem solving. That's how I chose to solve problems, and I still do today. But that's another story. So at the time of being fired, I was baking my tie-dye cupcakes for everyone and anyone. If it was your birthday and I loved you, I baked you tie-dye cupcakes. The first batch of tie-dye cupcakes I made was when I was at my first job out of college, about 2 years before I was fired. And they were Grateful Dead cupcakes, red, white, and blue tie-dye cake with the steal your face piped on each one. And I just remember the feeling I got when I brought them into work to celebrate my coworker's birthday. And it was unmatched, a feeling that I wanted to continue to have again and again. So naturally, I kept baking the tie-dye cupcakes. And the product itself evolved into this like absolutely beautiful.
Were they always small?
No, they weren't. At the time of being fired, they were still muffin size. And so my brother said, go home, bake your cupcakes. We'll start a business together, come up with 3 more flavors besides the tie-dye. I stopped at the Food Emporium in Murray Hill, scored the aisles, which I love to do at any supermarket, and, got the idea to put candy in the cupcakes to stuff them. So I went home, I baked the tie-dye, cookie dough, peanut butter cup, and s'mores. Still muffin-sized cupcakes at the time. Wound up sending them into work with my best friend's little sister, who was interning at Allison Broad PR. I said, Carly, bring these into work with you. If nothing else, you'll make friends because all girls love cupcakes. She's texting me or BBMing me. I had a BlackBerry at the time. Like, oh my God, everyone's obsessed with your cupcakes. Allison wants to put you in touch with her caterer. So I said, of course. I have an email from Allison, like, who was a celebrity to me. And I wanted what she had. She had built her own business. She was the namesake. I wound up getting introduced to the caterer. He called me that very next day and asked me to come to his home for a tasting. And so I ran back to
That
my
was fast.
Yeah, that was very fast. I remember I had a mirror in my little Murray Hill apartment kitchen. And I remember vividly like looking in the mirror and just crying happy tears because, in the back of my mind, that was my goal for sending the cupcakes into work with Carly, but I didn't imagine that it would happen. So I ran back to my brother's office. I told them about the tasting. I said, let's go in there. Like, we have a business already and he could be a part of it. My brother insisted the name of the company have a personal tie to it. I really wanted to call the company Baked, and he said, let's call it Baked by Melissa. You wouldn't know who Allison Broad is if her name wasn't in the
He
name
was a
of her.
marketer.
Yeah, he is. And his business partner at the time, my co-founder, Matt, we grew up with. And I used to refer to Matt as my brother from another mother. He knew me so well. In minutes, he was fiddling around on his computer and he turns around his monitor. He said, what do you think of this as the logo? And it's the logo we have today, almost 20 years later. I went to the bakery, the Clover Deli, which was across the street from my apartment, and I asked them for flat pastry boxes. I used to stop in there all the time. They knew me by name, which is such a cool, like, New York moment. We glued the logo on top of the pastry boxes. And for the tasting with the caterer, I decided to make them mini, not yet bite size, without paper. They looked,
Why? Why did you decide to do mini?
quite honestly, I don't remember. But I did, and he took a bite of each one. And it was Ben who said, from a catering perspective, people lose their minds over little bite-sized things. If you could figure out how to make these bite-sized, oh my God. So I left his apartment, combed the streets, asked strangers, do you know where baking supply stores are? They did. I found a temporary solution to make the cupcakes bite-sized. A couple of weeks later, was doing my very first event as Melissa of Baked by Melissa with Ben, the caterer. We had business cards printed that had my name, my cell phone number, my home address, but suite 27G instead of
Versus apartment.
My parents were not thrilled. And we created a website, bakedbymelissa.com, where you could actually order 100 cupcakes or more that I would bake out of my apartment and deliver using the subway. My brother and Matt built the website. We shot all of the images on my IKEA coffee table with a white bed sheet. And you could go to bakedbymelissa.com, see this beautiful drool-worthy rotating slideshow of our product, order 100 cupcakes that I would
Get
bake
on
in
the subway.
Yeah, and that's how we started.
So it reminds me of like a fake it till you make it
Very much so.
story, right? Because you were pretending you were a whole business. You're riding the subway, but probably acting like you were the delivery person.
I was
when
getting
you were dropping it
heckled
off.
by people. Oh, you got pizza for me? Because they were these like white pizza boxes that we would slap a Baked by Melissa sticker on.
It's so interesting because your pivot from being fired to becoming Baked by Melissa happened in like 48 hours.
It did. It like 2 to 3 weeks from between
fast.
being very fast. It was so outside of my comfort zone, and I was
What does that mean? Why was it outside your comfort zone? You loved baking.
I loved to bake. I was just doing what my big brother told me to do, literally every step of the way. I mean, I remember standing behind the cupcakes at that event, and all those Allison Broad girls, like, oh my God, these are so cute, like picking up a business card. I would cold call catering companies, and I had this script that my brother helped me write. Hi, this is Melissa from Baked by Melissa. I'd love to bring you a free tasting of my cupcakes. I felt like such a fraud sitting on the corner of my bed in my bedroom that had a fake wall, and they pictured me in a bakery, and yeah, it was so uncomfortable. I remember crying to my brother, who the hell do I think I am, Melissa, baked by Melissa?
Why do you think you didn't have the confidence? Because you clearly knew how to bake. And you were getting affirmation when you would show up for the tastings.
I mean, who has what women have confidence? I mean, like I feel like I've earned my confidence, and I don't mean to be negative towards women, but I think in the 18 years since founding Baked by Melissa, I have really done a 180. It has taken much longer than I think anyone on the outside looking in would imagine. I still today, the perception of me versus the reality of me is two completely different things. My job is very, very difficult and lonely and challenging. And then I paint a picture on social media and I give interviews that make it sound like I started this business overnight.
I watched you on social yesterday, like, with the salad or announcing your new partnership with Blue Apron, right? Nobody would think that you're not confident watching those
Now
videos.
I'm confident. But I earned the confidence through experience. So my brother was the CEO of Baked by Melissa for the first 8 years. And I don't know if you have siblings, but
I do, a younger sister.
Yeah, so he's my older brother. I very much did what he told me to do for a while. And
Was that ever hard?
very, very difficult.
I mean, because you're making it sound like he gave you a roadmap and you just followed it.
No.
And it can't have been like that, right? Because I also have a sibling. It's not always smooth sailing.
No, it's definitely not smooth sailing. And I think, whether you have a sibling or you're a parent, it's almost like parenting a child with your sibling because you have this tremendous love for something that you created together. And as I was reminded often, back then, there could only be one leader and one person who's ultimately responsible.
So was he the leader for the first 8 years?
He was the leader. And there were many times where we didn't agree. And that was really challenging, not only for me, not only for my brother, but also for our parents. There were many family dinners in Chelsea that didn't end on a positive note.
So tell me a messy story from that period so that I can picture it.
There were so many. And one of the biggest learnings as a founder is managing your emotions and really keeping them in check. Never respond when you're feeling emotional.
Hard with a sibling.
Very hard. I remember calling my dad crying one day after throwing my phone against the wall. And my dad, there are so many sayings like, what makes metal steel, baby? Extreme heat. Or you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's a new day. It's not the end of the world. But you really feel like it's the end of the world when you're having really big challenges, whether it's the direction that people want to take the business in, or even on the product development side, or even crafting the story of how we started Baked by Melissa. I'm one of 5 co-founders. Who to give the credit to? Oh my God, it was so much. And I really just always try and do the right thing.
I'm taking you back. You throw the phone against the wall.
Yeah. And my dad would say, tomorrow is a new day. Take a deep breath. Don't respond right away.
But it feels so personal, especially if it's your business.
Yeah. Even today, I've learned lots of different, coping mechanisms, deep breath in, hold it for 4 seconds, deep breath, box breathing. It's really important to just get yourself through those states of heightened emotion, never respond when you're feeling that way, and go to sleep or smoke a joint or do whatever you need to do.
I'm still working through an angry moment. I'm holding on to it for 2 weeks. Let's see how I do.
It's impossible. You can. It only works against you. But I've also learned that those moments where you feel the lowest, those are it's going up.
That's the growth, right?
Yeah.
The growth is in the things that are hard, not when it's so easy.
That's exactly right. And you learn from each one of those challenging moments. Yeah. So my brother was CEO for the first 8 years. Then we hired.
Okay. So what made you decide not to have him be CEO? Or what made him decide not to be CEO? What
he
brought the
needed
transition?
To go off and continue to create. He's a creator, an entrepreneur, a stage 1 entrepreneur.
And was that scary, losing him in that way?
It was very uncomfortable. I knew it was what the business needed. I knew it was what he needed. And I, at the time, had decided to prioritize my family.
Oh, so, okay. So those are 2 conflicting things.
No, they weren't. It was, he needed to go off and continue to create, and the business needed him to. And I had decided to start a family because I
So a
wasn't.
different priority. I mean, the business in some ways was a baby.
Yeah, for sure. But you can only have one priority, one top priority. And my priority was family. My brother, my relationship with my brother, my parents, all of it. And I think knowing what your top priority is and keeping that North Star and being true to yourself and your values is incredibly important. And so we wound up, my brother moved on. We hired his replacement, a new CEO.
Still not you as CEO.
Still not me. And his replacement, it was scary because I trust my brother.
Yeah.
He's
I
my
mean,
brother.
the one good thing about working with family is you have implicit trust.
That's exactly
shorthand
That's
too.
exactly right. His replacement wound up being a wonderful partner to me, teacher, incredibly positive attitude.
Somebody who had experience in the business?
No. I mean, I had experience in business.
Yeah.
His background was Everlast, Worldwide, and Models.
So retail, scaling.
Yeah. Retail, exactly. And he just had such a great attitude, and he brought me back to life, and he taught me the P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, like things that I hadn't really had experience in because.
Did you avoid that stuff when you were going through it? Like you weren't interested in it? I mean, I know that I had parents who were business people, and funny, I ended up going into business partly because I had student loans. But for a long time, I resisted like having to look at the balance.
Yeah, well, it's not the fun part. That's how I felt because I'm the face of the brand. You know, I'm responsible for the product. I had so many other things that I could focus on, but without a true understanding of the finances, you don't know your business. Seth taught me that, my CEO who came in after Brian. And it was such a wonderful experience. He was a true partner to me. And I felt like I had such an awesome job because I got to do the fun stuff. I had somebody who held himself accountable for the P&L, as do I, of course. So I guess he started in September 2016, which was a few months after I started my family.
How many kids?
I have 2 daughters today.
Do they love cupcakes?
It's funny that, yeah, I guess. Like, they're like, you know, they have their share of cupcakes. So one of them just like takes the icing off. They both only like 1 or 2 flavors. It's very funny. They love to bake and they love to be in the kitchen with me. And they love chocolate. Yeah. So he was our CEO for about 2.5 years. And one day he couldn't be anymore.
Why?
Personal reasons to him.
Yeah. So also hard, like a second loss in some ways.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you stepped in as CEO? Finally?
Yeah. So my board, we had a call at 6 p.m. on December 5th, 2019.
Right before COVID.
Right before COVID, right? And I had a 6-month-old and a 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old at home. And I get on the call and they're like, so Melissa will be the CEO. And I was like, ah. And I remember like tears welling up and I mouthing to my husband, and he was like, amazing.
And you're like, no, not
And
amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know what you know what I knew how incredible of an opportunity it was for me to be. I was catapulted outside of my comfort zone. I remember I was up all night crafting the story that we were going to tell the team with my investor, who I'm so fortunate to have because he believed in me. He believed in me when I didn't. And he really does today even. It's a very special relationship that we have.
How did you find that investor?
He cold called us many times. And yeah.
I mean, this does seem like a Cinderella story, I just want to say, but I know it was messy.
Oh, it's so messy. Oh my God, it's so messy.
Because you're like, okay, 48 hours after being fired, I start this business. It's amazing. I don't have to do the hard things. I do the things I love.
Which is also hard.
Okay, what's hard about that?
I didn't have a voice.
What do you mean?
In the early days.
You said they gave you that opportunity, but it was your business.
That's correct. What the hell is wrong with me? Why didn't I think I should be the CEO of the business that bears my name, that I have built from the ground up, that I know like a parent? Like when I became a mom, the first thing I realized is that I've been having maternal instincts for Baked by Melissa since the day we founded it. Like what is wrong with me? Why didn't I think I was worthy?
Why?
And why am I giving everyone else credit for making me CEO? 100%. It's just who I am. I really don't think of myself, but I'm working on that because it is very important to not only understand how I feel about things and go after what I, Melissa, believe I need for both myself and my business.
It's interesting because oftentimes, and I've definitely talked about this, oftentimes I would go into a company, I might have a senior role, but my way of presenting is very casual. And sometimes in corporate, I would see how people were really polished and restrained and sort of in control, right? And I would think to myself, like, should I be like that? Or, they kind of were more masculine in terms of how they presented, which definitely.
And half those people don't even know what they're talking about.
I know, but they did a really good job,
But
right?
they make
And they
everyone
seemed
think that they do.
so poised and like
Totally.
they had it all together. And I would be like, should I be more like that? Because like maybe I'm too bubbly and friendly. How have you resolved that for yourself? Because in some ways, that's what you're, it's like, I want to be liked, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I want to be one with the team.
I've really gone through an awakening over these years. So with the second CEO, Seth, we did market research in July 2017. We spent all this money. Agency came in, they present to us, and they basically said the heart of the brand lives within Melissa. And whatever Melissa feels is what you should do. It's just, but basically we spent like $100,000 to be told that. But it was such a powerful moment for me, and it gave me a little bit of confidence. And my CEO at the time had been telling me that too. And he would come to me with all of his questions, and he was really empowering me. And then I became CEO. I have two superpowers. Number one, I know what I don't know. And number two,
maybe to a fault.
Probably. Yeah, for sure. And then number two, I know how to ask for help, and I know like who to ask for help. So I did a lot of that in the early days of becoming CEO, which taught me that it's not rocket science. And
when did you get a coach?
More recently, actually.
So it took you a while to ask for that kind of a help.
Yeah, it did. One of my best friends was like, you need to talk. It's hers. And she was like, you need her. Like, you need her.
And has that been helpful?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
What is the magic unlock? Because it feels like everybody has a coach. I never really had a coach.
I never had a coach. I had a therapist. And I think we got to a point where she could no longer really help me on the business side of things.
What's the difference between a therapist and a coach?
Not much.
Really?
Not my coach just doesn't follow rules, and she can see through people. She had my number. She gave me like a couple of different assignments, like to think all the way back to my childhood. She told me what type of problem solver I am. She made me like really look at my day to day and dissect it. And through like these two thought exercises, I was like, oh my God.
Well, wait a second. Sorry, what does that mean? Oh my God. What did you realize?
That I needed an assistant. I needed help.
You didn't have an assistant all this time?
Nope, I still don't actually.
Wait, okay.
I hired an assistant. It didn't work. But
okay, anybody listening, Melissa's looking for an assistant.
I make mistakes all the time. But I think the most important thing is when you make a mistake to be able to recognize I made a mistake. What am I going to do about it?
But it's almost like you don't think you're worthy of having an assistant, right? Because when I talk to lots of people, they know about getting the support they need in order to be able to level up, right? It's
I think
didn't you deserve an assistant?
My upbringing through Bake by Melissa.
You're running $100 million company.
But I'm a martyr. I was really put under a microscope for a very long time. I have to lead by example as the face of the brand. Like even the smallest things, like
that seems like so much pressure.
So much pressure. I feel a lot of pressure every day, especially in the role of CEO. And now I'm a cookbook author, a content creator, a mom, and a CEO. It's too much. I don't recommend it. I don't want my kids to be CEOs, if I'm being honest.
So we had on the Points guy, Brian Kelly, and he succeeded early. He ends up being CEO. And one of the things Brian said was that he got to a point with CEO that he went to his board and said, you know what, I don't want to be CEO anymore. I actually think there's somebody better to be CEO. He'd been CEO. And they were like, we were waiting for you to come to that conclusion. And he said, I'm just going to lean into the things that are my superpower. And he is also the face of the brand and is living his best life, not doing the things that he doesn't want to do. I mean, of course, he got to CEO. And then he decided that maybe he wanted to live his life differently.
Which is not an easy thing to do.
Hard.
It's very important to be able to do that.
Do you imagine ever getting to that point?
I do. When you are stretched across so many verticals, of a very complicated business. I mean, we manufacture our product. We have retail, B2B, e-com, wholesale.
Shipping. You do so much shipping.
We do
It's
it
like
all.
operationally very heavy. It's not just baking in the kitchen.
Sure. And when you're the CEO, you have to make some really difficult decisions. You can't prioritize relationships. You have to prioritize the business. And that could make you dead inside.
Hard.
It's very difficult.
I want to go back to you. They tell you you're CEO, you're having a panic attack, but you lean in.
I listened to Rocky on my way to the subway the next morning.
Oh, that's your walk-on music.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
I have the tiger. And then COVID hits.
COVID. I love a chat. I like thrive in high pressure. Like I really love it.
You're such a contradiction, right? At the one hand, like you didn't want to use your voice. On the other hand, you love a good fight.
I do. And even when we were going through the transition, I went into my investor's office and I was like, don't worry, like everything's going to be okay. Like I believe. And yeah, so COVID hits. It's so crazy because we were actually at the bakery for a photo shoot. We shoot all of our product at the bakery on whatever it was, March 12th. And I remember saying to my team, come over, like let's order in dinner at my house. And on the way back to my apartment, they canceled school. And it was the last time we saw each other for months. I remember my parents coming to drop my kids off. They had picked them up from like daycare that day. And like, standing on the far end of my living room, like we had cooties because, they were worried about germs and COVID, I guess. Yeah. So my team came over. We had our last meal. It was so just intuitive and like listening to my gut. And it was a very challenging few weeks. We were seeing sales decline leading up to when like the whole world really went remote. But maybe a week or so prior, I brought my team in. It's like pounding on the table, like, people aren't celebrating in person. Like they're stocking up on toilet paper. We have to change our messaging. We have to connect with our customer. So we changed our marketing messaging to stock up on cupcakes. And if you can't be there to celebrate in person, send cupcakes. We wound up growing e-com 98% in 2020.
That is an amazing story.
I know. And I would stop at nothing because it's mine. That gave me my wings. It really showed me that it's not anything you could learn in a textbook, but it's grit. It's listening to your gut and it's asking for help when you need it or when you don't have the answer, bringing your team together. And when you do have the answer, really standing up for what you know is right for your business. That's something I needed to learn.
You found your voice.
Yes, I did. After I heard Hoda say once, like at something I saw her speak at, like that she earned her confidence through her experience. And it's so wise. How else do you become confident? If you're confident without earning it through experience, it's probably something else.
So if you were a kid graduating from a young person graduating from college today, what advice would you have for them?
I think listen to your heart and try and do the things that make you feel good.
And then if somebody's pivoting, right? I read all the time about people being laid off or leaving their jobs for various reasons, given what's happening. You're kind of this incredible story of like a messy moment that turns into an amazing moment. What advice do you have for somebody who's sort of just been told that they don't have a job?
Well, it's still messy, to be clear. And go find a new one. We live in an age where you have the world at your fingertips.
What does that mean?
It means that, like, as an example, I hate to hear people complain about not liking their job. It drives me crazy. Great.
Why?
Go find a new job. Like, use your fingertips and go find a new job. It's so easy.
Well, maybe not easy.
Maybe not easy. That's totally fair. But you are in control of your own destiny. And I think it's easy to complain and blame others for the way that you feel. But it's much more challenging to hold yourself accountable for yourself and your happiness and your success. And I think doing that is ultimately what leads to it.
How did you learn that?
I'll tell you, actually. I was reading a book called The Games People Play. It's about like emotional intelligence. I was standing on the subway platform and I remember I had this like epiphany, and like everybody has a different level of emotional intelligence. The only thing I can control is myself and the way I respond. I can't control anything else in this world. And I really started practicing that immediately, and it changed my life.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to have to look at that book.
Yeah. I made my husband read it.
Everybody feels out of control these days, so we
Yeah.
could have maybe all use it.
So go to the gym. You know, like you need to figure out what you need to do for you to make yourself feel whole and happy, because the chaos is going nowhere, it seems.
So when you look forward, which do you do that? Do you like look ahead and say to yourself like, okay, I can see not being CEO. I can see myself doing something different.
I do look ahead. I go really fast, I've been told. And so I could see the future, but not necessarily how to get there. My best team members are the ones that can fill that gap.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Okay. So what do you see?
I mean, in what regard? I see a lot of things.
Okay, let's go. It's like actually being with a futurist.
No, I don't. I think that my definition of success is happiness. And I think it's not sustainable for me to do all of these things and do them well.
So you say happiness, and I always worry about that word actually, because we're not always in a state of like joy. That's not what you mean.
Oh, no, I'm not always in a state of joy. Far from that. But
like, what is happiness to you?
well, for me, for a very long time, and I'll say I'm still there right now, is finding fulfillment through work. I work really hard and I really enjoy it, not only for Baked by Melissa, but also for my family. I think I inherited this like way of being where like I don't know how to sit. I don't want to sit. Although when my husband is on the couch, I find it so annoying. And like I ask him to do things because I'm constantly in a state of doing. But I love that. I love the busy, working hard for
It makes
the
my
things
family
I
crazy.
love.
They're like, why can't you sit still?
Then who's going to do all of these things?
I know.
But
Who's
I
gonna
love
shuffle?
it. Yeah. Like I dread the day that I'm not like needed that way, although I'll find other things and I'll probably enjoy it just as much, if not more. So for me right now, that's what happiness is. I think I'm evolving as a human, and I know it's not sustainable to be working my ass off, and I have nothing to prove to anybody, you know?
Maybe yourself.
I think I have. I think I have proved to myself.
So you wave a magic wand. You're not CEO anymore. Baked by Melissa is doing amazingly. You're still connected. What's the next challenge that you'd like?
I think I'm always a part of Baked by Melissa for the immediate future. I'm also a content creator and a cookbook author. We just announced my next cookbook that comes out in April. It's available for pre-order now. It's called Come Eat, because that's what I say to my family and my neighbors when I make something delicious and I want them to come eat it. And I do that all the time. And I love creating. I love cooking. I love baking.
Because now you've moved on to salads.
Yeah, food, all of it. I just follow my heart. So I guess I don't know what's next, but I'm very good at relinquishing control when it's necessary.
What does that mean? Because on the one hand, I bet you do like control. And so
I think it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. What's the mix between like control and letting it go?
I think it's important to recognize where your superpowers are and go towards them.
Okay. So wait, what's your superpower?
Creating.
So as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of priorities, but you said you have this ability to be laser focused. How do you think about prioritizing?
Well, my family is my top priority. My definition of family has changed since we founded Baked by Melissa.
What does that mean?
Is my husband and my 2 children. They're my top priority.
And your husband works with you.
He does. Yeah.
So it's kind of intertwined.
It is. I think it's so wonderful, actually, to have somebody that you can share the challenges with, but also the wins with. And we grew up together. We faced many, many of the challenges really together. He kept me sane. You know, if he wasn't there by my side, maybe I would have thought I was crazy. But like, he was like, no, this is nuts. My job as the CEO and co-founder working in the business is to maximize the value of my shareholders' equity. That's what I'm laser focused on.
Talking like a CEO. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's my job.
Yeah.
It's a little contradicting at times. And I spend 20% of my time every Thursday is content day. So
you bank the content.
I create 7 to 9 recipes. My commitment to my community is to post a recipe a day. I've done that for the past 6 years.
It's a lot of work.
5+ years. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
It's a
Most
lot of
creators
work.
just have that as a full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It really is a recipe for burnout, I'll tell you. But I think you have to get to a place where it becomes nearly impossible to make change and do what the business needs, but also maybe what I need.
People who don't know how to have a voice outside of like the traditional world, right? There's people I meet who still say, "Oh, I don't know why you're on social media. Like, I don't have anything to say, or that makes me uncomfortable." A lot of women still feel
Yeah.
that way. What do you have to say to them about that?
Well, same. The reason I'm on social media, like my face, is because my team was creating content for TikTok, this new social media channel that I did not like. And I didn't feel that I had actionable feedback for them. And so I said, I love social media. At the time, I've been posting to Bake by Melissa since Instagram was created. I felt like I needed to learn the app so I could give my team feedback. And I created an account, Melissa Ben-Ishay, where I would just like post recipes that I was making for dessert. I love dessert. I eat it every night. And then dinner, whatever. And the engagement on the Melissa Ben-Ishay TikTok was much better than the content my team was posting for Baked by Melissa. So on a whim one night, I made a salad and I posted it to Baked by Melissa. And the next morning I woke up, I was like, oh, let me see how the salad did. And it had like 30 million views. So it was like more of as an entrepreneur, you recognize the opportunity the community is providing you with in this moment. And it's up to you. Do you take it or do you just leave it there? And then convincing my team that posting salads to the Baked by Melissa social media account is what's best for our business.
So, like, that's not what our brand is about.
Well, it's not, but I literally had this conversation. Oh my God. As a CEO, I feel like you have the same conversation over and over again. That's like a big part of your job. Would you rather grow a community of people who come to us for something and create that connection? Or do you want to post cupcake content?
Because they're like, well, it's not
It's
really
A.
on
It's
brand.
A every time. And that year one was about building the community and just like really building
What
the
does that mean to you,
relationship.
building the community?
Showing up, consistency and quality every day. I think I'm an addict. Like it's not a good thing. I'm addicted to productivity and I love it. And I love creating. So it's just the perfect storm. I love social media. It's a place to go to be inspired. It's also a double-edged sword. And there are things that aren't good about it for sure.
Because that moment when you post the salad and it goes viral, to you, you're thinking about your community, and your community actually is willing to be expansive about you, not just limit you to cupcakes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the community don't really draw the line between the two. And I work on really closing that gap. But the truth is, these people, this community of now millions of people, have given me an opportunity and my business an opportunity. They've breathed new life into me and also my business. Most videos I sign off and say, love you. I love you. I love you. Like, thank you. Really. I am in such a unique position as a creator who had a product first. I don't have to work with brands to pay the bills. I have a full-time job. And so it allows me to be the most genuine and authentic version of myself and also work with the brands that I really trust and have loved for my whole life.
Because you're doing a lot more collaborations now.
We do a ton of collaborations. We learned how to parlay some of these brand partnerships into product collaborations. So we have a partnership with Kinder where like my kids'
Who doesn't
favorite
love Kinder?
candies. Yeah, who doesn't love Kinder? We also, we had one with 100 Grand, Crunch Bar, Baby Ruth around Halloween. Tabasco, Cabot, Simply Lemonade. Like there's so many, and we have another one coming out soon. I think it'll be available when this comes out. Like with Essie, nail polish brand that I've been wearing my entire life. Essie Weingarten is someone I reached out to in the early days of Baked by Melissa, so I could understand from her like what it's like to be the face of a brand. Yeah, so it's just beyond my wildest dreams, and I have the community to thank.
Okay, so we're going to do rapid fire. Your messiest moment on a scale of 1 to 10.
12.
The last time you cried.
Like December 26th.
Just recently?
Yeah.
What'd you cry about?
How heavy it all is to my husband.
Because it's heavy.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone to do before 35?
What would I tell somebody to do before 35? Whatever your heart desires.
What's one advice for someone who's having a crisis of confidence?
Go for a run.
Go for a run. It clears your head.
Oh, yeah. I wish I could do it more.
Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, the cupcakes are amazing, but I think really what's more amazing is your resilience and your willingness to just lean in.
Thanks.
And I love that you found your voice.
Thank
It's
you.
amazing that you didn't have it sooner because it was in there.
I know. I think we all have a voice. And I hope my story and my experience help you find yours quicker than I found mine.
Thank you for making it to the end of the episode. I know that, like me, you're going to be listening and running to go buy a cupcake from Baked by Melissa and trying her many different flavors. Remember, share, like, and tell 10 friends because that's how we're going to keep going and sharing all the messy stories behind success.